Now before I even start this video, I need you guys to click on the little eye icon in the top right. I don't care if you're on PC or mobile, this should be there. And tell me, what console do you guys play on? Xbox One, Xbox 360, PS4, PS3 or PC? Just leave that on the little thing on the right. There's a poll, just click your thing. I'm actually trying to incite a console war here. I want to know exactly what platform you guys play on to be able to kind of gauge how I want to take this series. So click the eye icon in the top right, pick your platform and carry on with the video. Hope you guys enjoy. So, welcome back to another brand new GTA 5 video, guys, and today is actually going to be week 1 of a potential new series, which is actually going to be the top 3 weekly races. Now, I'm going to be focusing primarily on stunt-based races, but even 2 of the races in today's episode, while they do use stunt props, they're not necessarily kind of actual stunt maps with jumps and stuff. 2 of these maps are actually GP maps, and the first one that I'm actually going to be showing you is in fact a stunt map. So, this might be a weekly series, which is why I need to know from the poll at the start of the video, guys, what platform you guys are on, because I want to know kind of which maps I should record for what platforms, because I need to know where the majority of you guys are. I know I have a lot of PC followers, and I have a lot of Xbox followers, but I think PS4 still reigns supreme, which could be a bit of a problem for me. So, without further ado, if you guys do end up enjoying this first week, then be sure to go and hit that like button down below, as it really does help me out as always, and it lets me know if you guys would like to see more of this series, so leave that in a comment down below. Now, let's go. So kicking off in the 3rd spot, today in this first episode of the top 3, we actually have Stunt Time by Dragon's Name. Now, Stunt Time is an actual stunt track, not one of the aforementioned GP tracks, and it's actually very good fun. So I actually took it around, I actually took the tires around this track here, and I took it around this track, and it's a very elevated track for the most part. It's on kind of these raised stunt props here, and you drive around this really nice smooth track. I recorded all of these alone so that I could just have the full track to myself, no risk of actually falling off or whatever. I just wanted to properly showcase the track. So you start off kind of around this Palito area, you drive around this massive kind of raised section here, and then you start to get into the tubes a little while on. A little while into it, you actually hit the first tube, which is a ridiculously long, massive green pipe that takes you all the way down Palito Bay. You start up at the police station end pretty much, and you're taken all the way out to sea, and you're just following this massive green tube all the way down. You're in it for not far off like a minute or so, I don't know, 45 seconds or so, if you're just cruising just at max speed down it. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, I was driving through this entire thing, and at the actual end of it, you actually get taken off into a black pipe, and you ended up going around this massive kind of loop here. It's really, really fun actually. You get to ride on the walls a lot, which is of course the main appeal of these kind of hamster tubes here. And then you actually come all the way back in the black tubes, except I say all the way back. You stop a little while on, you go back up another tube, you go taken into the sky. It's a really, really fun track. It starts off very smooth as kind of a proper racing track with the raised stunt pieces. But as it goes on, you get caught in these hamster tubes, you get into a bunch of different coloured tubes, taking you all up around Palito Bay, up into the sky, back down, massive drops. You have some booster pads launching you further up, and then once you reach the very, very, very top, as you can see right about here, you come out, get braked, and then you go down the massive slope, which takes you down this huge blue ramp here, takes you down the ramp, you have kind of a ski jump looking thing at the end, and you get launched way over the sea, and you have to land on this platform over here at the end. You then have to bob and weave through some of these skittles or some of these bowling pins across this massive just green open platform. You get taken back around near up to your starting position again, back up on the raised tracks. You have to bob and weave through more of these like footballs and more bowling pins. You land back on the track, carry on round. You have one massive loop-de-loop that takes you back up into the sky, back down, carry on the track. It's a bit of kind of a harsh landing. It's not too smooth, but you carry on there. You have kind of a narrow section of the track, push on through, and to finish off you have a couple of raised sections, some kind of 180 turns. You go around those, go back through a couple of tubes, have a nice long straight at the very end, and you go into a jump to take you to the finish line. Overall, a very nice map by Dragon's Name, taking our 3rd place. Next is actually not a stunt track, but in fact a Grand Prix track like I mentioned at the start of the video, and it's actually called Beast Chicane GP. It's actually made by a guy who goes by the name Beast Mode Killer, with some funny E's and some 3's in there. Anyway, this track is very, very fun. I really enjoy playing it because it wasn't so ridiculous like some of these stunt maps. So, for example, the last one was a bit crazy going through some of the hamster tubes, but I like some slightly more realistic racing here. It actually takes you around this kind of area here, out in the Blaine County area, out in Grapeseed, and you're racing around these tracks. Now again, I played this alone. I did all 3 of these alone for the first episode. I was just kind of racing around, trying out all the tracks a few times and seeing what I thought of them. But if you played with a team, or maybe if you've been in any of the racing crews, such as like Nodo, you can actually race through here with another 29 players just racing around these tracks. It has a really realistic feel to it because it hasn't got ridiculous turns, and overall I just really enjoy the feel of this track. As the name would funnily enough suggest, you have a few chicanes kind of around the centre of Grapeseed in the actual village itself. You have to go through a couple of really tight corners, left and right, and kind of bob and weave through those. But then you get back onto the motorway and you have a really nice straight there to kind of take you around to the finish line at the end. And you start back up going the other way down the motorway. And overall it's just a really nice smooth track, makes great use of the open roads. And as long as you have traffic off, this thing is going to be really fun. He actually makes use of some of the props to kind of give you at one point a pit lane on the right. So if you're playing in an actual racing crew, you'd use the pit lane every 8 or 9 laps, actually pull in there. And now we actually have the brake pads, it will properly slow you down and you can repair and everything in there. Whereas before it was kind of based just on an honor system. Well, now you can actually properly brake in there, and around some of the corners he actually makes use of some of these props here to kind of give a raised area to make sure that you can kind of have a smooth turnaround there. I've seen on some tracks as well, and I don't know if it's on this track, but you can also put brake pads around certain corners to make sure that nobody kind of cuts the corner, and I feel like that's kind of the objective of some of the stuff here, is to make sure that you just take the corner nice and smoothly. As I raced around it in the RE7B, I actually found this great map, Beast Chicane GP, by Beast Mode Killer, a very fun, enjoyable racetrack to actually play with your friends, and overall it's just a very realistic feeling GP track. Massive props. And finally, for our third and final map of the day, taking the first place is actually a map by a guy who goes by the name War Biscuit, or I'm hoping it's maybe War Biscuit, but I don't think it is. So we have Silverstone GP by Whore Biscuit. And this is an actual recreation of the Silverstone track. Now this thing is so fun. I've played 2 actual Silverstone maps in GTA 5, and this one I found was the best one because it was nice and flat, it didn't have any crazy elevation, but it was just mostly smooth. It had kind of the real life it had the real actual proportions to it, because a couple that I've actually played, or the other one that I played, was kind of a condensed version. It didn't really have quite the same feel to it. You can never get up any real speed around it, but that's not the same here. This one takes a couple of minutes to complete, and it's overall a very fun track. So again, I used the RE7B for optimal performance, and I just raced around it. It has super smooth turns, very nicely done, has barriers lining the most part of the side of it, and actually at the end it has kind of a tyre area that you drive through to finish off, and that's your start and finish line. It's just a really good track. I can't say that it was crazy creative or anything, that I can't really talk about some of the crazy ideas that they had, because of course it's based off a real life track, it's based off a real Silverstone GP track, but they just made it so fun. He really went to a lot of effort to actually make it bring it pretty much identical to the Silverstone track. It's perfectly flat. He's used, I guess, the snap function to make sure that everything is perfectly snapped together, perfectly smooth. There was pretty much no issues that I could find in this track, and overall it's definitely a track that I would recommend trying out if you guys are on the Xbox One, so you can go and download it there. So, great job on the Silverstone GP track, Whore Biscuit. And that's pretty much it for our top 3 for the first week, guys. Now, like I said, I need to know what platform you guys are on. This is of course all Xbox One tracks. There will be links in the description to all 3 of these if you'd like to go and try them out yourselves. But I know a large part of the players are actually on PS4, and I think the second biggest part are on PC, leaving us on Xbox One in the dust. Now, I can record these on PC if you guys would like to have it on the PC, but I sadly don't own a PS4, so I need to know what platform are you guys on. Just leave that in that little poll at the top there, just click the eye icon, and just tell me, because it's very important for me to know so I can kind of adapt this series accordingly. And also so that I can get a bit more analytics into how you guys are actually playing the game, where you play it, and what videos I should optimize for your particular needs. And that's pretty much it. Leave a like if you guys did enjoy it, and leave a comment down below telling me if you guys would like to see more weeks of this series. I really enjoy making it, and I love trying out some of these tracks. I spent hours upon hours just filtering through dozens and dozens of tracks, most of which were absolutely terrible, but I found these 3 really stood out, and I'd really enjoy actually being able to do that each week and finding you guys the best maps to play on whatever console we end up going with. And that's pretty much it. Subscribe for more videos just like this. Leave a comment down below telling me you'd like to see more. And finally follow me on Twitter. There's a link in the description down below. Thank you guys all very much for watching. My name has been Flair, signing out.